Gentlemen and ladies, it is time for some new Big Tuna content, and today we are taking a look at the new Enhancement Shaman buffs and nerfs that are coming this December on Tuesday. So dwell into your minds, unlock your minds, because we're going to have a pretty good discussion regarding Enhancement Shaman. So let's get right into it. So if you're new here, this is how Big Tuna rolls, okay? I'm gonna pretty much lay it down, what has happened with Enhancement Shaman. I'm going to talk about what's bad, what's good, what are some alternatives that Blizzard could have gone, and just wrap it up with how it's actually going to affect Enhancement Shaman. So yes, starting off with the first bulletin, improved Maelstrom weapon increases the damage and healing of spells by 8% per stack of Maelstrom weapon in PvP combat was 10%. Interesting, let's move on. Raging Maelstrom increases the effectiveness of Maelstrom weapon stacks by 3% in PvP combat was 5%. Interesting, move on. Stormstrike and Windstrike damage increased by 30% in PvP combat. Very interesting. Let's talk about this. So let's talk about the nerfs first. Yes, you can obviously tell these are nerfs. These are nerfs to Maelstrom weapons. So, well, why did this happen? Why did improved Maelstrom and Raging Maelstrom get nerfed? Well, it's pretty simple. Especially if you've been watching the Big Tuna as of recently, which a lot of people have. A lot of new subs, subscribers, views, likes, comments. They're very amazing. You guys are bloody awesome. So, but yeah, getting off topic here. Why is this a problem? Enhancement has been one-shotting people. It's been one-shotting, it's been doing a lot of damage. Whether it be one-shot or just overall damage, it's been pretty absurd. Now, what am I talking about? I'm specifically talking about Primordial Wave, Lightning Bolts, and Elemental Blasts. They've been hitting like an absolute truck. Probably, if not one of, the biggest spender ability in the entire game. If any spender you can think of does more damage than Primordial Wave, Lightning Bolt, and Elemental Blast, please leave it in the comments, because you know what, there probably isn't. There probably is not a spender that can hit for 265k, and apparently from what my boys are saying, 320k. So I don't know what those guys are doing. Maybe they're stacking mastery, I don't know. Maybe they're trying some cheesy stuff, but apparently they're hitting 320k, they've been hit for 320k. I don't know. So it's been pretty interesting. It's been pretty loud for Enhancement Shaman in this beginning of the expansion. Now, here's the main problem. Okay, previously they were nerfed by 25% across the board. Anything that did damage was nerfed. Stormstrike, Lava Lash, Frost Shock, Flame Shock, it was all nerfed. That was really bad, and it pissed off a lot of people because it was just blatant. There was no developer note, there was no commentary, nothing. It was just, hey, here's 25% nerf. F you, go home. Really bad from Blizzard. And then they slowly kind of gave back some of the damage we lost, and now we kind of went back to where we were before. And now, coming Dragonflight, we went even higher just because the sole purpose of one shot and just absurd damage. That's the only reason, not because of anything else you have, just the amount of damage you do. That's the only reason why we're higher, which is not good. Not good in the least bit, especially on a class like Enhancement Shaman where there's no really real setup to do that damage. It's just, hey, press your Primordial Wave, make sure you're at 10 stacks of Maelstrom weapon, and hey, have fun one-shotting people the entire battleground. Pretty interesting. Now, here's what Big Tuna finds wrong about this. The main issue with Enhancement Shaman, one-shot damage / just absurd spender damage, is Overflowing Maelstrom. Overflowing Maelstrom just, again, doubles everything, and it puts the cherry on top and makes everything do absurd amounts of damage. Overflowing Maelstrom is the cause of that. It's been the cause of a lot of player anger regarding Enhancement Shaman, because Overflowing Maelstrom just allows all your abilities, your spender abilities, to consume 10 stacks of Maelstrom. Basically, gaining the maximum effectiveness you can from every single Maelstrom effectiveness talent, which you have like 4 of them, to just be a souped up Elemental Blast / Lightning Bolt. That's the problem. Nerfing the individual talents like Improved Maelstrom Weapon and Raging Maelstrom is a problem, because there are certain scenarios where you're not taking Overflowing Maelstrom. Certain scenarios that mostly affect towards healing, because, you know, getting that big heal off is really good, but there are some times, especially if you have a Mortal Strike on you, where that one big heal, which should in your mind heal a big amount, usually sometimes can fail you. So having that extra heal in the chamber is just really good, and it's really hard, especially when you're doing like arena and stuff. It's a little bit harder to get to 10 Maelstrom weapon stacks constantly, to constantly get that damage out, to constantly get that healing out. It's a little bit of a hassle. And plus, if you're running Overflowing Maelstrom, it's just not worth using any abilities below 8 stacks of Maelstrom. If you're using abilities, especially if you're forced to, it feels really bad. If you're not using spells at least 8% or 8 stacks of Maelstrom weapon, you're not going to hit that hard and you're not going to heal that much. The whole point of Overflowing Maelstrom is for your abilities to just be souped up on steroids. Now, of course, coming Dragonflight, as we are right now, it's souped up on just Omega crack Superman steroids. That's not good. That's not good. So, again, nerfing the improved Maelstrom and Raging Maelstrom just really affects normal Lightning Bolt and Elemental Blast damage, which was really good. There was no like problems with it. It was just good healing, it was good damage, and it was good, it was just good sustain. So now that's being targeted for no reason because of the individual nerfs regarding these two talents. So that's a bummer. That's a really big bummer. I don't take Overflowing Maelstrom with my Ascendance build. When I'm going full on Ascend, I'm not taking Overflowing Maelstrom because my Ascendance does not work with Overflowing Maelstrom. It only worked with 5 stacks of Maelstrom to discharge a Lightning Bolt. So that's the unfortunate part of that build, is getting a little bit nerfed because they're targeting these two talents. That's pretty interesting. However, they did give us a little bit of compensation. Stormstrike and Windstrike damage increased by 30%. As of Dragonflight, the normal rotation of Enhancement Shaman, like Lava Lash, Lava Lash never did that much damage anyway, but your Stormstrike was your biggest damage in Shadowlands, especially towards the later patches. It was your biggest damage. So seeing Stormstrike be like maximum 7th in my recount is like really just it's a little bit rough to see, So it's getting a 30% buff, and that's hopefully going to feel amazing. Stormstrike just didn't, again, not saying it didn't do good damage, it's just like it was just heavily outshined by your just insane spender abilities. So now hopefully we're going to see Stormstrike kind of get back up there in your damage recount, hopefully. So that's pretty good. And you can read the developer note too. It basically just says the same thing I just said right now. But yeah, so overall, it's a step in the right direction. Again, I'm just really iffy that they're nerfing these talents because it's an indirect nerf to just normal. How many times am I going to say normal spender damage without Overflowing Maelstrom. Overflowing Maelstrom is what's causing everything to just do more damage than expected. So it's very interesting, but I don't know, very good changes, honestly, in terms of just the overall patch. You can read these changes on your own. I'm not really going to read these, but overall, DKs got nerfed by AMS, Deathstrike, Resto got some changes, some mostly bug stuff, but Evoker one shot got nerfed. Arcane is still Arcane. Frost got a little bit of change of life, good life changes. Rogue, a little bit of a nerf, and then Warrior is probably the most random out of all of these. You can read that on your own and be confused just like I am. So interesting. But how is Enhancement Shaman gonna fare? Honestly, it's gonna fare the same way as how it always is. It is concerning because outside of that big damage that Enhancement Shaman has, there's nothing really outstanding that Enhancement Shaman has that separates it from other DPS classes in the game. You're not tanky. Your healing is your defense. Your healing is your defense. You take a lot of damage. Astral Shift is not a bad cooldown. It's the fact that your only cooldown to live. Just like every other class, you die in just stuns no matter what. No matter what stun it is, you're most likely gonna die through it. Whether it's Intimidation or Kidney Shot or anything, you're gonna die or at least get brought down to less HP than you would like to. And certain classes can survive stuns. Why? Because they have abilities and they have, certain defensives they can use that are really worth using outside of that stun. Whereas Enhancement Shaman, all I really have is Astral Shift, and I kind of need to generate that Maelstrom weapon. So that's all I really got. Whereas other classes have good response time when it comes to just damage. Your healing, yeah, your healing is great, but that healing is very easily pressured. No matter, especially if you're playing a melee, you're easily pressuring that healing by a mile. It's not that great when you think about it. Now, other stuff like Grounding Totem, Earth Grab Totem, Static Field Totem, a lot of your totems and a lot of other utility, such as like Hex and short cooldown Wind Shear, is honestly great in theory, but a lot of that stuff just kind of gets outclassed by, again, every other melee in the game, besides a few. So it is interesting to see, but you know what? Enhancement's still gonna be on that same pedestal that it's always gonna be. Is it still gonna one shot? Hopefully not. I don't like one-shotting. I mean, of course I like one-shotting, obviously, but it's not good for the game. And you know what? If my class is really causing a lot of player anger, then you kind of have to take a hit for it, because I care about how the state of the game is, and I want people to have fun. And if my class isn't causing people to have fun, then that's a problem that you have to be willing to accept, no matter who you are. Mages, Zaryu, calling them out. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Overall, I think it's good changes, step in the right direction. Wish they executed it a bit more and looked into a bigger issue, but honestly, you know what, I'll take what I can get. So that was the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Links in the description if you want to see more Big Tuna, and if you're feeling generous today, leave a like rating down below, as well as a subscription with a notification on, because you'll never miss a video. You'll be notified at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time whenever I upload. So very great. And yeah, hopefully I see you guys in the next life. Peace.